Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to talk to the people who read the stories that we write. Um, we love you. Those of you who dedicate your lives to devouring every chapter we post, every new story we put up, uh, every twist and turn that we make with the canon stories. We love you. We love you all. And we appreciate so much that you're willing to spend your often rare bits of free time perusing what we have on offer. Um, I personally will be forever grateful for every single one of you. Um, I love the people who share my stories with me. As I've said before, I'm not much of a social person. Don't get out, don't like to get out, don't like being around people for a whole lot. Um, but I'm still connecting with a community that welcomes me with open arms, and it feels wonderful. This is what you as authors can have, what you can enjoy. Post the stories that you post because you love them, because they mean something to you, not because, hey, I'm going to get fans. No, no. If you're writing just to feed your ego or to pander to the lowest common denominator, um, the stories will never be all that good. They'll never be that engaging. Sure, you'll get fans because you are feeding into whatever oddities they themselves have. It's the nature of the beast. But for the readers, like I said, we love you guys. We really do. We appreciate the fact that you're willing to take time out of your busy schedules to give our pathetic attempts a look over. Comments are extremely welcome, especially for me. I'm not looking for any kind of validation through your comments, although I do appreciate it. What I love most is the give and take between myself and my readers. The mistakes that I make, because I'm only human and there's only so much I can actually see. And if I read over a chapter before I post it like 3 or 4 times, ow, and I don't see a mistake, but you do, I'm so grateful when you point it out. If the story doesn't seem clear to you, the chapter doesn't seem clear to you, even though it makes sense to me because it's in my head. But what's in my head doesn't always translate well to the written page, and sometimes there's clarification that needs to be made. I'm more than willing to accept, oh well, this doesn't make quite much sense, and you ask the questions that you ask, and I'm like, oh well, shit. maybe I should take a look at that, because that sounds like a pretty serious little bit of confusion. And I'm more than happy to go in there and add to or correct or fix whatever it is you guys point out. I'm grateful for that. I am grateful for that because it makes the stories better. And little contributions, you shoot an idea. I'm working on a story where Harry doesn't enter the Triwizard Tournament, or Harry's not entered into the Triwizard Tournament. And how I came about that particular gem was as I was writing it, and this is during third year. Was it third year? No, it was fourth year. This is during fourth year And the Tri-Wizard Tournament. So someone shot me a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek kind of remark about, maybe it would be interesting if Dumbledore was the one to go through the tournament. And instantly, more of the story started to grow just from that single comment. And I ran with it. And gave that particular commenter credit for giving me that idea in the first place. There's nothing wrong with tossing out an idea, because chances are good that it'll come to something. You'll get the writer will get some sort of inspiration. Sorry, I have to move my keyboard because the cat. The writer will get some sort of inspiration from an offhand comment or something the reader would like to see because they've never seen it before. So yeah, and as I've said before, and I'll say again, fan fiction is for the fans. And if the authors are too arrogant, conceited, or stuck in their ways to not take an idea that's a really, really, really good kernel that you can build on, I write differently than a lot of people, I'm pretty sure. Most people probably already have their stories completely fleshed out. They've got every chapter, or they're ahead like 10, 15 chapters, so their process couldn't work well enough to be able to, keep going. I used to do that. Not anymore. I don't have the time. And my as I get older, my imagination kind of just a little bit. So I post chapter by chapter. I write the chapter, then I post it. I write the chapter and then I post it. And because I don't write ahead, I'm able to take those suggestions, those ideas. Oh, hey, that's a great idea. I could probably drag 3 or 4 more chapters out of that idea alone. Thank you so much. And here, you're the reason I have more to write. They're not telling me how to write it or what to write. What they're doing is giving me a suggestion of what they would like to see, of what they think would be interesting, and a nice little twist in the story. I don't always take the ideas. Some of them just don't fit the story, or they don't fit my personality and my particular skill set when it comes to writing. But I thank them for the idea. And if I remember to, not always, but if I remember to. But yeah, but we're not even talking about, not supposed to be talking about that today, but I ramble in case you haven't noticed, because something wanders through my head. I'm like, oh, I have to talk about that. Okay. People who leave the comments and reviews, like I said, we appreciate them. We love them. We don't live for them because, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. But they encourage us to keep going, because if you're enjoying the story enough to want to chime in on something, that means we're doing something right. It's reviewers like this who comment like this: great chapter, update soon. First of all, demanding updates or complaining for updates or pushing for updates, please do remember, we have lives outside fan fiction. Many of us have jobs. Many of us have families. Many of us have responsibilities other than fan fiction. Nagging us for an update does not get that update any faster. For some of us, sometimes the muse just kind of, fucks off somewhere, faffs about various different countries and leaves us in the lurch. We've got a story we haven't updated in weeks because she's not there. So yeah, nagging us for updates. And some authors will refuse to actually update the story. They'll figure they can wait. If they're going to be that impatient about it, they can wait. It's not appreciated. We know we have to update the stories. We know we need to update the stories, but on our schedule, our timeline, and not yours. Unless, like I said, they're an author that writes 50 chapters ahead, so they always have one to throw in, like every week, like clockwork. Nagging us for updates just isn't going to work. And it will piss us off. We may not update. We may, just walk away from fan fiction altogether. It depends on how pleasant you are when you demand your update. People can be rude because behind this, their anonymity is assured. We don't know who you are. We don't know where you live. So if you get nasty and shitty with us, the only thing we can do is block you and prevent you from being able to read the story. Keep that in mind. Constructive criticism is welcome. Gentle corrections are encouraged on my part. I'm not so sure about other people. A lot of authors, I'm not going to say most because I don't know, but a lot of authors that I read, if you shoot out a review saying, hey, you made a mistake here, it should be this and not this, as far as spelling, syntax, grammar, sentence structure, that kind of thing. Or if you're reading a story that you really love, but oh my God, it seems like it's written by a 5-year-old, and you're throwing out, helpful advice, and it's ignored as they continue to write like they're a 5-year-old, that's their choice. I don't mind being corrected if I've made a mistake about something, be it the type of weapon and cartridge that's used in the UK, in UK hunting rifles versus American hunting rifles. Yeah. Be it the translation of a spell or the name of a place or an entity like a publishing firm or whatever. I'm more than happy to take that in and make those changes. I use Google Translate. Unfortunately, when I put the stuff that I put in Google Translate in other online translation apps, it comes out the same. But native speakers have a different way. Google Translate and other translation apps do it strictly by the book. Their translations from one to the other are their best guess at what you're trying to say. Sometimes when I'm creating a new spell, I'll put individual words in and then string them together. so that it makes more sense. And then I'll put the entire statement in to translate from Latin to English. And if it comes out the way I want it to, then that's the spell. It takes a little bit more effort, but I don't care. I prefer accuracy. I've had a few people come at me about Latin and how my sentence structure or whatever is not right or blah blah blah. There's an author online. Her name is Lomonaran. Wonderful, prolific. Oh my God. And one of her stories in another country has Harry cursed with a spell where he can only speak Latin. And in that story, she points out through Harry's point of view, the reason he loves Latin is because you can move the words around in such a way that they're still correct, but Latin is flexible. I'll put it that way. She pointed out through Harry that Latin is flexible. We as Americans or as British tend to want to make the other languages fit the way we speak, with subject, verb, predicate, blah, 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 proper English grammatic structure. Not all languages work that way. Quite a few languages don't work that way. And it's their language. So I've gotten a few rather snarky comments about how my Latin is wrong and it's not supposed to be this way and blah, blah, blah. But they never offer a correction. And, they never say, well, this sentence doesn't seem right like this. Maybe you should do it this way. And it pisses me off because not everybody takes Latin. Or any of the Latin-esque languages. No, we're not as well versed in using standard Latin as a native speaker or someone who's been studying the language for God knows how long and blah, blah, blah. That doesn't mean you gotta be shitty about your comments, about your complaints. If you're gonna point out that, hey, this doesn't sound right, this doesn't look right, offer a correction. I am more than happy to put the correction in instead of what I've got. I'm doing the best I can with the tools I have. You don't have to be a dick or a bitch. And that segues into another thing. Don't complaining in the complaints about this isn't canon. It's fan fiction for a reason. It's not supposed to follow canon. If it was supposed to follow canon, we'd be rewriting the goddamn books ourselves and being popped for plagiarism, copyright infringement. That she has no problem with us playing in her sandbox is perfect for us. I mean, and it's not copyright infringement as long as we're not making any money off of it. And we're not making any money off of it. Some sites like Wattpad offer that option with the author's permission. I'm not a fan of making money off of someone else's intellectual work. It just feels wrong to me. Um, if I'm going to make money off of writing, I'll make it money off of writing of my own and not someone else's. Even though the stories that I write are my own, it's still someone else's work. It's still someone else's creation. It's still someone else's baby. And I'm not stealing someone else's baby just to make money. Wattpad's policy and other sites like it makes me uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable. But yeah, don't come screaming to us, well, this isn't canon. See the little AU up there? The A, capital A / capital U, alternate universe. It means it's not going to be canon. I might include canon references. Most of my stories touch on canon because it's the established world, and you're playing in that established world. Changing too much of it takes it completely out of that world. If all you're doing is using the names and descriptions of the characters and nothing else, you've taken it completely out of that world. Alternate universe. We are not set to rewrite her story. Well, I'll amend that. As far as I'm concerned, I am definitely set to rewrite some of her characters, because she doesn't get it. She really, really, really doesn't get it. She didn't get it when she wrote them, and she doesn't get it now. People just don't work that way. So I play with altering characters and motivations and that kind of stuff because I'm a human being. I'm a normal human being. I've experienced a lot in my life and understand how people act and react in certain situations. So, but yeah, don't come screaming at us about, no, it's not canon. I'm not rewriting her stories. I am not rewriting her canon. I'm not following canon as much as I can get away with not following canon. If it moves the story along, I'll bump a little bit of canon in there. But no, when you come complain to me about, oh, well, that's not what they did in the book, I'm going to ignore you. It's not helpful because the story is already written, and I'm not changing it for one person who wants it to be just like JKR wrote it. I can't do that. I can't write like her. I can't write like an emotionally and mentally, psychologically stunted person. I can't. So yeah. If you're going to criticize, do it gently. Do it concisely. Do it intelligently. And make sure what you're complaining about, what you're working to correct, actually needs it. Don't complain about something that the author puts in there because that's the way they wrote the story, but it's not the way you want the story. I'm sorry, but what you want and what you need out of a story is not important. The bottom line is we authors are writing these stories for ourselves. A lot of us have been through shit, as have you. And this is our way of dealing with the baggage that comes with that shit. I was watching RuPaul's All Stars last night, All Winners All Stars last night, and they were doing graduation commencement speeches. And Jinx Monsoon's graduation commencement speech hit a nerve. She talked about learning to live with your trauma, confront the trauma, deal with the trauma, live with the trauma. Don't let it crush you. Don't let it destroy you. Let it make you stronger. So that's what some of us with these fan fictions are doing. We are dealing with our traumas our way. Evie Oddly had another really, really, really good graduation commencement speech. She talked about learning to fail. This society these days, the participation trophies for just showing up, trying to make your child feel important, not letting them learn from their mistakes, not letting them learn how to fail, pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and move on, is the biggest crock of shit I have ever seen. You do not learn to survive, to thrive, to succeed without failure. Learning to fall down and then pick yourself back up, bandage those scraped knees, dust yourself off, and keep moving on is the most important lesson these kids have to learn. The most important lesson you need to teach them. So we also deal with our failures through the stories. Something that where we made a mistake and didn't see it until it was too late. Not making my husband do a colonoscopy years before he got the cancer. My failure. I know he was a grown man, but he didn't like doctors any better than I did. And I could have forced him. He'd have resented it. He'd have been pissed off, and I'd have heard about it. But I could have forced him, and maybe, just maybe, we could have changed his destiny. Maybe. Not paying attention to how sick my brother was 2 days before he died. He was fighting a really pernicious upper respiratory infection. He'd gone to the hospital emergency room twice for it and was sent home twice for it. And the last time I saw him, he was struggling to breathe, struggling to just, he was struggling. And I hadn't had my first aid classes for my nursing before I saw him, so I didn't think anything of it. I just thought he was trying to milk sympathy, because yes, I've lived with him doing that before. So I didn't think anything of it. And then 2 days later, we found him dead in his apartment, choked to death on his own blood, coughing up. Yeah. And the countertops were full of pneumonia medications. So the hospital fell down as well. They failed in their responsibilities as well, because he had a particularly vicious pneumonia that wasn't being treated right, that the medications weren't breaking through, and the coroner refused to do an autopsy. He heard Billy's weight and said, nope, heart attack. He was too fat. Case closed. So, yeah, failure inspires you to try harder next time. Failure inspires you to learn from your mistakes and do better. Okay, I've soapboxed enough. But yeah, these are some of the things that we face as fan fiction writers. Is for some reason, some of the readers seem to think they own us. That somehow their readership is what pays the bills. Their devotion to us means that we have to pay attention to them. As with any person in a public forum, we have the right to live our lives the way we choose to live them. And if that means that your updates are slow, if that means because we're trying to put out our best work for you, if that means that we're going to subvert canon, because why write fan fiction if you're just going to regurgitate what's already there? If you're going to try to push your silly ideas onto us, just keep in mind, we could just as easily take every single story off the sites and leave you hanging for how they're going to turn out. We could just as easily just stop writing. We appreciate everything you give us. We really, really do. But we don't appreciate being abused. So I will see you tomorrow with a new product.